Hey there, Sarah.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, just living the dream.
All right. Well, it looks like we are live streaming to YouTube, I believe, anyway. So what we'll do is if everybody can mute themselves, and then if you want. Sorry, I was getting audio from all different directions there. So if everybody can mute themselves, and if you need to talk, then it looks like everybody's pretty much muted. Then you can unmute yourself. Kevin, if you want to go ahead and call the meeting to order.
All right. Meeting of the Timberville Planning Commission will now come to order. Good evening, everybody. It's good to see everybody once again. And let's hope this stuff soon gets over with and everybody that's sick gets better. And they've come up with something to make it better. I guess disclaimer that you have down here according to the agenda, the authority to conduct it electronically. AC, you want to go over that with us?
Okay, so tonight's meeting is being held electronically using the Zoom conferencing platform. Authority to conduct the meeting in this manner is provided through the declaration of local emergency ordinance and a resolution that were adopted at a special meeting of the Timberville Town Council on Tuesday, May 26, 2020 at 6:00 p.m. This declaration and ordinance are in effect for 6 months from the date they were adopted. Members of the Planning Commission are participating in this meeting through Zoom, while public streaming of the meeting is on the Town of Timberville's YouTube channel. Local media were notified of the meeting by email, while public notice was conducted through the town's social media pages. For the purposes of this meeting, public comment will not be taken. However, there is one item of business that will be addressed during a public hearing at the Timberville Town Council meeting next Thursday, June 11th. Public comment on the topic is being accepted in writing prior to that hearing, but there will also be an opportunity for interested parties to call in during that public hearing to comment. And any votes taken tonight will be conducted by roll call and will be recorded in the minutes. So bear with us as we go through this. This is the town's first electronic meeting, so historic moment, guys. So
kind of nice to be the guinea pig. Anyway, Sharon, do we need to review any of the past minutes of any meetings? Do we want to do that?
That's up to you guys. It was, the last one was March 5th. And do you want me to read them?
Yeah, just give us a small overview of everything because it's been a while and it would probably refresh everybody's mind if you would, please.
Okay, AC informed us that Centerra's zoning permit has been submitted and waiting for them to come and pay the fees. Brent Trumbo, the county board of supervisor, met with VDOT and expressed his concern and the town's concern regarding the narrow bridge on American Legion Road. Remember, we had discussed that. That was one of the issues we had with that development. Oh, let me see. And then it was about Matt Severance to create a lot line at 304 2nd Avenue. And this would make the lot conforming with a 15,000 square foot lot. And that was carried. And we received a document from Mark in regards to short-term rentals. We made several changes and final copy will go to council at next meeting. And that was really the only thing that was important.
All right, AC, was anything adopted by the council when it was presented did we take this thing forward about the, I'm trying to think of the right verbiage.
The lot line revision?
Yes.
Yes, so the council approved the lot line revision.
Okay.
Do we know anything from Centera?
What was that, Sharon?
Do we know anything from Centera, the zoning permit? Did they ever come in and pay the fees?
I would have to go back and check. I'm not sure if that was, if they actually did come in or not.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, I guess we have the next item of business, unless anybody has any other questions, to move on to a rezoning request. AC, would you like to review that with us, please?
Certainly. So everybody received a copy of that real recent. I think that was what I probably sent out today. And we have Matt Saverns joining us on the meeting here. And Matt's the one who made the rezoning request. He bought a piece of property. It's at the top of the hill on American Legion Drive. It's just a hair over 2 acres, and it's currently zoned R5. And Matt has requested to have that property rezoned from R5 to R2. This will come up for a public hearing at the town council meeting next week. So we aren't taking public comment on it tonight, but we have asked Matt to come in to the meeting here so that the planning commission members could ask any questions. And Matt, if you want to, we'll give you the floor and you can kind of explain what you're looking at doing there and the idea behind the rezoning.
Hey, everybody. Sorry to interrupt, but I have a personal financial conflict with the rezoning request since I own property adjacent to the lot. So I'm going to mute myself and turn off my camera during the discussion to kind of simulate me standing up from the table and sitting in a chair in the audience. So go right ahead.
Thank you, Greg. And Matt, feel free to go ahead and if you have something, if you want to make a little presentation of the planning commission, feel free to do so.
At this point?
Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so we purchased the Pence property on the top of the hill of American Legion that basically backs up to Legion Hills. Like Austin said, we're wanting to get it rezoned so we can split it into the size of the acreage. It would split into, there's an existing farmhouse there now. We would like to keep that on one of the lots and then do 5 other lots below that. So a total of 6 lots to be divided into. And the way the property sits, our idea was the lot right next to the existing house, that would be an entrance where the existing house's entrance is now. And the land kind of grades off from there. So we were envisioning kind of for the other 4 lots, somewhat of a pipe stem going up on one side. And that way the driveways are off the road rather than pulling right out onto American Legion. So essentially we just want to rezone it so we can split it up into 6 different lots. And the houses are pretty much identical houses as Legion Hills subdivision.
Okay, Matt, this is Sharon Jones. Are these,
Hey, Sharon.
Are these single dwelling homes?
Yes.
Okay.
So how many acres total is involved in this rezoning?
2 acres.
So in these 2 acres, you're gonna have conforming lot lines and 6 dwellings, correct?
6 individual lots, yeah. So we actually purchased right on the other side of the hill. We purchased an acre when you're going down the hill, and that was when we purchased it. That was divided into 3 lots, and that is 1 acre. So this property is 2 acres. So essentially, be the same exact thing. We would just split it into 6 individual lots. And our goal is, with it basically right next to Legion Hills, is just to, keep it same exact houses pretty much that are in Legion Hills there. So
What's the square footage are you talking about?
I don't have the exact square footage. You talking about houses or the lots?
Yeah, houses.
Houses, 12 to 1,800 square feet, roundabout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have questions? Comments?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Is this the lot that was kind of in the middle of that one development that we talked about? Was it late last year? There was a potential,
No, Sarah, this lot fronts right on American Legion Drive. As you crest the hill and you're heading down towards Legion Hills, it's on the right-hand side. And so it backs up to
Okay.
Legion Hills, but it has frontage all along American Legion Drive. So
Okay.
the other house that you're thinking of, I believe, was the 11 to
off
15 acre
Irish.
field. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I just want, I was thinking about the right area. So that's all, that was
Let
my
me,
only question.
I have let me see if I can find it here to share. So can everybody see that?
Yeah,
I
Okay.
got it.
So that's the lot that we're talking about here. So here's American Legion Drive. This is heading back into town. Here's Irish Lane. And there you can see part of Legion Hills. So this is the lot that Matt owns that we're talking about, that he's talking about dividing here, or rezoning to divide at some point.
All right, AC, the rest of this off of Irish Lane, and I guess that's Legion Hills there on the backside of it. That's all R2 as well, isn't it?
So everything surrounding Irish Lane is R2. Legion Hills is all R5. And the big tract of property that would be over here, which is the one that Sarah was talking about, that one is R5 also.
So basically R2 would make it conform with the rest of the subdivision. Is there going to be anything connecting those?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't have any kind of spot zoning if the rezoning is approved to R2. It wouldn't constitute spot zoning because it does abut against these properties here on American Legion and Irish Lane that are already zoned R2.
So in retrospect, no objections as far as the town is concerned, as far as any problems with the way the land lays?
I mean, obviously, if the rezoning is approved and Matt proceeds with this, Matt, I heard you mention, that was one thing I wanted to mention, was I heard when you were talking, you mentioned about a pipe stem type deal. We'll have to look at the regulations because typically the regs don't allow for, each lot would have to have that in R2, I believe it's 75-foot frontage on a roadway, but that's something we can look at. We can get together outside of this meeting at some point and look at that and see how the division would take place, because it would have to meet the regulations of the town's land development regulations.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. Like I said, 1 block away, we are building those duplexes,
Right.
and the only reason we thought in our mind to do some type of pipe stem, if we cannot do something like that, by all means. I know VDOT kind of led us in the right direction with the duplexes. It's just such a busy road that having coming out of the driveway, I don't know. I was thinking just kind of getting off the road, but by all means, whatever is mandatory for something like that. So
right. But that's something we can talk about, and you still have the same amount of acreage there. It's just a matter of where the lines are drawn to divide it up. So
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
AC, I really like that you're going to work with him with that, because that is a lot. That would be more traffic coming out onto that road. And I agree with Matt. I like that pipe, idea, but you all will have to discuss.
well, that's something we can look at and talk about,
Yeah.
and may have to do some kind of special exception or something like that.
Right.
So did you say Legion Hills is R1?
Legion Hills is R5.
Is R5? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to see duplexes there, end up there, and then Legion Hills has the single family, and then you have farmland and all of this. So if we go to this designation, does that keep homes there? That's kind of my thought process on that. Other than Matt saying he's going to do it, I get that, but.
Right. So yeah, you're asking what kind of guarantee do we have that he'll build homes there?
Yeah.
Right. The only way to guarantee that it would be single family homes is through the proffering process, where it would be, if a proffer is offered to the town that it would be only single family homes, then it would become an R2 zoning or R2 conditional zoning that way.
Okay.
And but by all means, I know when you label it, it states that it could be single family or multifamily dwellings. That's kind of the same scenario when Luke and I got the property a block or so away. So we're actually in the process of doing the duplexes now. I think at this point we would rather do single family homes just for the interest that we have multiple people that are interested in a single family rather than a duplex. And if there needs to be some stipulation for it to be single family rather than multi-family, then by all means we would like to do something like that, obviously, and especially with Legion Hills, right in the back of the property. So
the other question, did we ever get any sort of answer from VDOT about that bridge? Because we're back to that same situation where you have Legion Hills, and then if he builds this, is VDOT going to do anything to widen the bridge?
Yeah, VDOT has our board of supervisor for this area has talked to VDOT, talked to him during one of the county board of supervisors meetings and brought it up. And VDOT, he told me that VDOT had gone out and looked at it and agreed with the assessment that it was too narrow and that they're supposed to be making some kind of improvement to it.
Do we know what those improvements are, AC?
No, I don't have any kind of detail on that yet, as far as what they're going to do or when they're going to do it. So,
well, my thinking is that, I don't have any problem with Matt doing what he's doing. I do think a proffer should be put in place just as a gentleman's agreement, maybe. Not that I'm not trusting, I'm just saying on the town's behalf, maybe. I don't know how everybody else in the crew feels about it, but I think we do need to get some kind of commitment from VDOT as well on how they plan to safely address that concern with that bridge over there.
right.
Questions? Anybody want to weigh in on this?
I'm just curious if we could go through the county's Board of Supervisor minutes. And I don't know if there'd be any reference to that conversation that Mr. Trumbo had with, I'm sure, Don Kamara at that time. And the minutes for the county meetings are usually pretty extensive. And I don't know if there'd be something there that would assist us in knowing exactly what's going to be placed there. My impression from the secondhand conversation I got is that it was a commitment to make an improvement, but until they got out there and took a real look at it, they didn't know if they were going to go box culvert or exactly how they were going to address it. But I was left under the impression that there were going to be, repairs made to that. At least that was the way I understood it.
Yeah, and I can do some checking on that before the public hearing next week, and hopefully I'll try to talk to Don Kamar and get some details from him, find out what kind of plans they have in place to make those improvements.
That being the case, can we make that contingent to what they're going to try to do? I mean, as far as approving from R5 to 2?
Well, I'm not sure what effect the R5 to R2 has with, the bridge. You could leave it R5 and just bring a master plan to the town and have it approved. And it could be even more dense than what an R2 would allow. I'm not sure that the bridge not getting improved is, I don't know that it can be, the rezoning could be denied because of that. That's not something that's necessarily in Matt's hands.
So basically, whether or not it's approved or anything, that bridge is not going to come into play as a safety thing for additional housing and additional travel through that area, correct?
Right. It would be more of an issue once that 11 or 15 acres of land is developed. That was where the discussion arose originally, was when we started talking about development of that piece of property. But let me do some checking with VDOT and with the county, and I'll get some more information, some more details on that before the public hearing of next week. And if there are concerns, if the Planning Commission is expressing concerns about having something that guarantees single family homes, and if council would have the same concerns, I'm sure the town attorney would probably have something to say about it too, as far as how it should be taken care of.
I don't want to tie his hands with this, but is he able to get 6 conforming lots with the ability to come in there? Like, I don't want to make it so hard that he can't do this either, but I also would like to see, the same kind of thing you have, like he's saying, the same types of houses that are in Legion Hills, have that kind of thing. So it doesn't look like we just have different neighborhoods all popped up all over the place. So that I get what he's saying there. And I think that's good. And I don't want to, he's got an investment in this property, and I don't want to be in the business of taking away that investment either. So I just want to make sure that, I'm not saying, oh, this has to happen this way, but I don't want to do something where he won't be able to build at all, because we've seen that in the past too. So that's just the reason why the questions are behind that. And I think the bridge is an issue because it's been brought up in the past. And if you bring 6 families in there, there's going to be school buses for 6 more families. So
by all means, I have the houses that we are thinking about potentially building there are essentially the same exact houses that Cosner has built there in Legion Hills. It's ones that sell and ones that people are interested in. Obviously, Legion Hills a lot of people, now that 150 some houses are built there, and no more are being built, when a house comes up for sale in there, it doesn't last long, you know. So I as well as Greg lives in Legion Hills, and he backs literally right up to the property. Our house backs right up to the property as well. And we would, you know, rather than do duplexes going up through there, if that's a concern of anybody, the same houses that are in Legion Hills, I feel like it would completely mesh great with it. More houses on the road, talking about the bridge aspect of it, completely understandable. All of us that live in Legion Hills have stopped on that bridge many a times to let somebody by. So I can understand everybody's concern with that. But you know, if to get it to where we need it to be, if there has to be something where it needs to just be single family homes, by all means, for sure. Like the duplexes, we're building a block up the hill. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but they are pretty duplexes. I think they do look good for the area, you know. So, but you know, that's completely different property than right behind Legion Hills. So, yeah, I mean, that the plan would be to do houses essentially that mimic Legion Hills.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? And I guess somebody needs to either make a recommendation, not make a recommendation.
Not yet, Kevin, because this is the one that requires a public hearing. So the planning commission can't make a recommendation to the council until after the public hearing, because planning commission has to hear the input from if there's any input from the public also. So that'll all take place next week.
Okay, sounds good. So this is just basically kind of before the scene, huh?
Right. It's a hash out any issues that might arise to try to make things run as smooth as possible. You know, or, you know, if there was anything that was a glaring issue, that it could be addressed prior to getting into the public hearing.
Okay, my bad. So at this point, we just wait until next week and go from there.
That's correct.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions that they have for Matt so we can let this man get on doing what he's doing? If not, we'll move on and I guess hear from next week. You got any comments, Matt?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me in on the meeting here. And I appreciate everybody's insight. Yeah, I guess I will see you guys next Thursday. And yeah, we like I said, Steph's parents live in Timberville. Her brother lives in Timberville. We're looking to build a house off of 2nd Street there near her parents. So, you know, we love the area. I work with my brother-in-law, and sorry, I got a phone call there. It really threw me off. Anyhow, we love the area, love small town America. And yeah, I guess thank you guys for your time. I'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Bye,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Matt.
See you guys.
All right. Is
I
Greg
guess
back,
the
Greg back
next
in here
item
now?
of-
There we go. Yeah.
The next item of business is the lot line revision.
That's correct. So this one's very simple. We sent that out the same time with the rest of the information, and let me see if I can throw this up on the screen here.
Is this where the house was torn down, AC?
That's correct. Yes, it is. And so there we go. Does everybody see that?
All right, got it.
Okay. So on the left-hand side of the paper there, you can see Main Street and this is just about across from the property right below it is almost across from the museum. But yeah, Carl, you're right. This is the lot on the north side of that dotted line is where the house was torn down. And so Mrs. Conley owns both properties, and she just wants to have that lot line removed through there, and it'll make one large lot that will then be conforming.
I was gonna say, she looks like she's not conforming with a side setback there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the road frontage doesn't conform. The side yard setback doesn't conform, and so it will definitely make an improvement by removing that lot line.
I actually love this because that other house was super close to the other one, wasn't it? In the first place, this is a great move right here. I really like this.
Yeah, like I say, this is one of those, it's pretty much a no-brainer. It's very simple, very straightforward, and it takes two non-conforming lots and makes one conforming lot out of them.
I see no issue. I agree with Stacy. I think it's be a welcome improvement overall. So what do we need to do? Just
you'll need a motion to recommend to the, because this will have to go to the council for their approval. It doesn't require a public hearing, but so if someone wants to make a motion to recommend to the town council to approve the requested lot line revision.
Could I ask
or lot removal.
first?
Sure.
So just in theory, could they change the lot line instead of it running, from the front to the back, from side to side, and still have two conforming lots, or no?
Yes, I believe they could. And then the other lot would be accessed off of Community Circle.
I was just curious,
right?
About losing a lot in town.
Right, and the property owner has talked about doing that, but she's taken it small steps at a time. She's discussing with her family what intent they might have for the property. And so that's why she just wants to make a conforming lot to start with. And then if they want to address it later of a different, of dividing the lot, then
right,
they would come up with an arrangement that way.
I guess we're not in the business of giving advice, but I feel like it's much easier now to make that change and put that lot in there and take it away than it would be to try and put a lot line back in.
Well, as long as they can make two lots that don't create, as long as they can subdivide that one lot and not create any nonconformities, then there's really no reason to deny anything like that. Deny a request of that. Yeah.
All right.
I understand. I would probably look at doing the same thing if it was my property, Carl, where just do it all at one time. But I spoke to Mrs. Conley today, and because she had talked about that before, and I wanted to make sure with her that that's all that she wanted to do right now was remove that lot line. She said, yes, that's what they want to do right now.
Do you need me to make that motion, Kevin?
Yeah, I can't do it.
I make the motion that we remove the lot line.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, now we have to take, what is it, a virtual vote here, AC?
Do a roll call vote. So just go down the line, and as long as we have everybody eventually speak and give their yay or nay on it.
All right, let's start with Stacy.
I say yay.
Carl?
Aye.
Gregory?
Aye.
Miss Sharon?
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yes.
Sorry, and Who have I missed? I'm not
You
seeing
got,
it.
you got Ben yet?
I'm sorry, Ben. How about you?
You're good. I say aye.
All right. Anybody opposed?
Greg, you did second it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
All right. If there are no nays at this point, then the motion is carried.
Very good. Thank you all for that.
I guess at this point, we've pretty well dispensed with everything we needed to do. Is there any new business, any questions about anything going on in the town or anything like that we need to discuss?
I guess AC, we talked in the past that Walmart was going to start those pickup lanes, and last time I was in that lot, I guess they were pretty close to starting that.
Right. I know Michelle was going to call over to the manager either yesterday or today, but I didn't get a chance to ask her. She was going to get an update on it because they do have the sign. I believe the signage is up, the side of the building, the corner of the building's been painted, and they did pick up their permits and everything to do the work on it. But I can get an update. I'll email everybody with that.
Any updates on the Christ building, or where do we stand with that?
We are waiting to be able to meet with EPA because of the COVID-19 pandemic that got put on hold. And so once we get to a certain point where they feel comfortable coming out and meeting, we will meet with them to find out what kind of assistance they can provide on addressing the situation with that building.
Anyone else?
Yeah, AC, I'm not getting younger, so I'm getting forgetful. As we were walking, I know we took up this house, and forgive me for not knowing the road, but it's up on the top end, and there was a road we had talked about, blighting.
Right.
Did we ever decide to do that? I've just walked past it a lot recently. We've changed our walking pattern.
Right. I've been in discussion, and I sent a letter to the property owners on that one back however many months ago that was. And they've come in and talked to me several times and called me on the phone and have been keeping me up to date on their plans for it. I know they had some work done with they're taking some stuff out of the inside so they can get it taken down, but they're going to have that house demolished.
All right. Anybody else? Well, I guess we're pretty well done here, AC, unless you have any other thing you need to bring up or discuss or updates.
No, nothing at this time. I just want to thank everybody for joining in on this, using this medium tonight. I think it actually went pretty well. I was a little bit nervous, guys, because this is the first one I've hosted. So thank you all for making it work well and making everything flow smooth. So next week, we had one step to the challenge next week because we have 2 public hearings for the council meeting. We have the budget public hearing, and then we have the rezoning public hearing. So one more level.
Will we
You
get
did a
to
great
attend
job,
that?
AC. Thank you.
Good job.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Worked out great.
Yeah, good job. And now, will that also be done virtually, AC, or what?
Yes, we're gonna the council meeting will be done same way as we're doing it tonight. So you all were the guinea pigs for this.
So do we have to come to the meeting next week like we usually do in person?
No, you will.
Okay.
We'll do this. You all will get the same invite. Just I think the council will just to join us the exact same way as you're here right now.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
How will we pretend to deliberate?
Well, and that's one thing I'll talk to. Yeah, and that's one thing I will talk to Matt about is the decision may not be able to be made exactly that night. We'll see. It kind of depends if we can take a few moments after the public hearing closes if there's anything for planning commission to discuss. At that point, depends on what the public comment is, if there is any, if there is some kind of, if there's something brought up in the public comment that planning commission would like to discuss further, then you don't have to make a recommendation that night, and council can just act on it later.
Could we do a chat? Can the planning commission have their own special chat to deliberate?
I don't know how we would do that because your deliberation has to be open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And if you try to get me to do two things at one time, that's going to push me over the edge, Stacy.
The only way I know that you could do that would be FaceTime on an iPhone, and I don't think
Right.
everybody's got those.
Exactly. But we'll figure it out.
How will the, go ahead, sorry.
Stacy, when is your last day?
Probably this or next week. We're still in the process of everything. Our house isn't for sale yet. So I'm glad I got to serve with you guys, though. I'm glad you brought that up. So hope I left the town in better standing than when I started.
Well, not as for myself, it was an honor working with you, Stace, and stay in touch and keep us posted what's going on with you, because I, for one, think we made some real command decisions with you on this team, and it worked well. And I really do. As far as I'm concerned, I appreciate you, girl.
We'll all miss you a lot.
Yeah,
I will definitely miss you, Stacy. You know that.
I'm not gonna be far. I'm just like 2 miles out of town.
It don't matter. You're not gonna be in that conference room with us. That's what we missed the most. All those giggles and all that stuff we run around the room on, you just have no idea.
Well, I appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
Well, I think the record should reflect how much work Stacy did on the sign ordinance that kind of changed the way that our town is going to look moving forward. And I think it was for the better. And Stacy, I personally appreciate the work that you did on that sign ordinance. I think the Walmart looks a million times better for it. I think the auto parts store that has come in since then looks better for it. And the town will look better for it moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Carl. I'm gonna miss having you as my neighbor too. So that's just a side note, but
Hey, don't sell it to any crazies.
All right, gang, if there is nothing else, Greg, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I had one question. How will the public be submitting comments during the Zoom meeting next week?
So what we will do is we'll have, I'll have one of the, probably Cecilia, I might ask her, she'll come in, but somebody manning the phones, and we'll try to just take the questions over the phones. I don't know any other way that would be, I feel that would probably work the best.
That sounds good.
All righty, if there is nothing else, I will therefore adjourn the meeting, and goodbye to all your lovely faces. And I guess we go at it again. You'll send information next week then, right?
I certainly will.
All right, everybody.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Okay.
Good night. Thank you very much.